They can get a whole 5 minutes of babbling from us. Whatever the babbling is. We got all kinds of babbling stuff going on.
Like New Year's resolutions. I always thought that you like started it to be ready for New Year's resolution, not
No,
started on New Year's.
no. People New Year's resolutions is a resolution on New Year's Day. That's what it is. You know, start this. I'll start January 1st. I'm going to give up drinking after I've been pounding booze all night long on New Year's Eve. I'm going to give up drinking New Year's Day.
What are you showing on your screen? It's a bunch of numbers?
What do you mean?
Black screen with
Oh, that's my server.
Oh, okay.
That's my server. Oh.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm hearing things. Stupid other computer over here. I had the monitor on and decided to play sound through the monitor.
Oh, don't worry. It's not the voices in your head this time. It's real.
Yeah, there. I fixed it.
Thank you.
That was my monitoring of my my servers. One of my servers being monitored for what's happening.
Oh, okay. Looks interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's all very interesting, keeping an eye on my servers. Making sure they stay up functioning, year round. We need more people to come in and host with us. We got room on 2 servers right now, so. So anyone looking for high quality boutique hosting, come see us.
Hmm.
Just as
Boutique
affordable.
hosting. I love it.
Just as affordable as everyone else. Well, that's what the term has always been there, but it's actually being used more now. Whereas, versus the big boys like Bluehost and all these other moronic overpriced, or actually they start out underpriced, but very quickly your hosting is overpriced because you run up against all their limits, and their only solution, you hit the limits, buy a bigger package. Here you go. Oh, you hit the limits, buy another bigger package. Oh, hit the limits, buy a bigger package. Instead of, boutique hosting is hosting companies that aren't trying to become super wealthy. They want to make a really good living, and they limit the amount of websites on their server. They actually interview the people that are being placed on their servers to see if the site would do well on the server, or if the site's going to create problems for them, and they monitor them. If a site starts to create problem, they notify them, hey, your site is doing this wrong, fix it. Otherwise, find a new home. So that's what we do. We do boutique hosting, but it's the term is becoming more in vogue now, more acceptable. So yeah, we've got a good thing going there. Huh? What happened to them all? There was 4 people waiting. Now there's only 2 watching.
Maybe it counted me and you as waiting, but now it's not counting you or I as watching.
It doesn't count me at all.
Oh.
Because I'm in the background. I'm on the control panel.
Ah, right. Oh well.
Yeah, it doesn't get me at all. So, oh well, c'est la vie. We'll see what happens. Get the peoples. And let's see here. I need this. There we go.
So as of today, I officially have an 18-year-old child. It's
oh,
weird.
You do?
Yeah.
Today's her birthday.
Yep. She is 18.
I need to reach out to her and wish her a happy birthday.
It's kind of surreal.
Yeah, it is.
Like when they're little, you never really think about when they finally become an adult, except for vague ideas here and there. But then they actually become a technical adult. And it's like, well, you're not grown up at all. What happened? Makes you wonder about when you yourself became a technical adult and how your parents are telling you need to grow up still. And you're sitting there going, but I'm mature enough.
I left the house 1 month after I turned 18.
Yeah?
Yeah. I took off for Arizona to do my trade school 1 month after I turned 18. Actually 2 months, because it was September, and I turned, my birthday's in early July, so it's just about 2 months later. I went to Arizona very quickly.
Yeah, it's definitely a surreal experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Still got a couple years with the other one, though.
Yeah. Yeah, well, your brother's not too far behind.
I know.
He'll be 18 next May.
It's weird. They're all doing that growing up thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes. They're reaching their full maximum heights and growth potential.
Craziness.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of where my mind is stuck at today. Just stuck on the repeat of, playing over all the fun times and crazy times of raising child.
Mm-hmm.
I guess most parents do that.
Yep, usually. At one point in time or another. Here, there, and everywhere.
So anything new with you and the doggo?
He's moving forward with his training. He's becoming better and better.
Oh, good.
Like I said, it's been a continuous 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We only had this last week. We only had like 1 or 2 I can't say 1 or 2 walks. 2 days where walks were like he was just total douche mode and didn't want to listen. But he very quickly got the idea again. Even now, he doesn't yank me around. So it's like 95% of the time now he doesn't yank me around as we walk, and and then I'd say I'm about 50% of him going after wanting to play with other dogs, and about 50% wanting to go up to people. So I'm working on those 2 items now.
Found any more new superpowers? Like, he has a superpower of peeling bark off of wood. Mm-hmm. So does he have any other superpowers you've discovered?
He can jump 6 feet in the air.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
when we were out running, and he spotted a squirrel in a tree above us, he tried to jump up to the lower branches of the tree. Next thing I know, I was looking at the bottom of his feet next to me, and I'm thinking, dude, I stand close to 5'11" nowadays, and I was looking at the bottom of his feet, so that was 6 feet up. He went all 4 feet. Yeah, he can jump.
Okay, so we have 2 superpowers.
Yeah.
He can peel anything off of whatever, like all the fuzz off of tennis balls, all the bark off of sticks he finds. He can peel things.
Yes.
And he can jump really high.
Now I just got to figure out how to, use these superpowers to my benefit. All right, enough of that randomness. It's music time for show.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder.
then it must be time.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 637, and we have plugins for Cookie Banner Compliancy with random number generation and some WordPress news, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber Overall.
And we got the usual great show for you today with lots of fun stuff, behind the scenes information, all kinds of news, and random stuff. And I really don't have all that much, so hey.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
I just wanted to quickly say hi, Andian. Good to see you. Glad you're able to make it today. So, everyone, welcome to episode 637, behind the scenes of WordPress plugins, plugins exposed with critical errors. We've got a couple of great in-depth plugins to cover for you, some recent news in both the WordPress world and the tech world in general, and some awesome WordPress tips. So it's getting to that time when the Christmas songs are about to enter my household. I have been fairly successful at keeping them out of my house until December 1st. But once December 1st happens, everything just pukes Christmas. I don't know about how it goes for everyone else, though. Some people are probably already trying to make their house very Christmassy, very, very decorated. Some people are like that. I'm more about Halloween myself. Still haven't taken down some of my Halloween decorations. It's just too cool to take down. So remember, everyone, to keep yourself warm and dry. Change your socks, keep them warm, keep them dry. You want to stay healthy. Last thing you need is to get sick over the holidays. Couple of reminders before we start the show today. Be sure to check out our newer thing called News for You. You can find it on our homepage right next to today's podcast. And the show starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time every other week on Monday. Join us for the pre-stream about 12:15-ish, major-ish, but we'll be there before the show starts. And you will find the show notes on the homepage of WP Plugins A-Z.com within 24, again-ish hours of every show. It will be there within the 24 hours, somewhere in there. Life gets busy, so I'm sure as everyone who comes here to listen to our show knows, sometimes you got to really cram something in to make sure it gets into that timeline. But sometimes, you got to go with the flow. And lastly, this is a value for value show, dear listeners. Help us get some loving by hitting some like button, sharing an episode or two, or, just crank up the show while your family members are in the house. Let them hear how awesome we are, and then maybe they'll pass on our show. So let's start the show with this week's featured artist.
Oh, there you go.
Sir Grok.
There it is. There's this week's this week's image.
Makes me think of video game. I can't think of what video game it is, but it's one that my friends used to play when I was a kid. So
yeah, it does kind of have that feel to it. I don't know. I was having a tough time giving Grok a good prompt this week, so.
Oh, it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. It was nice. It makes it easy when I can figure out the prompt. I think I had the prompt in 4 times to get a decent image this time.
Hamdian said, I like to not think about Christmas before December. If I start too early, I'm fatigued by the time the actual day arrives. Yeah. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, it usually doesn't get into full swing until after American Thanksgiving, which is until this weekend.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I always forget when American Thanksgiving is. I know sometime after my birthday, but that's about as much as I remember.
It's the 4th Thursday in November.
Oh, first Monday sounds so much easier.
Yeah, well, theirs is the 4th Thursday in November. Ours is the first Monday in October.
So if anybody out there is feeling is feeling interested, or if they're feeling a little bit of inspiration kicking in, we would love to have some new art from our producers themselves. So you can send them in to us. You can go to our site and check out our art vaults.
Absolutely. Some of these might... All right, let's go.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
First thing we have here for everyone today is the WordPress vulnerability report. In this report, there are 205 vulnerabilities. 199 of these are plugins. 84 plugins have been patched so far. Wait a minute. So yeah, there are currently 6 WordPress themes with vulnerabilities. 2 have been patched so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be patched nowadays.
Yeah, although it's less than last time we did this. There was 285 last time, and it was all plugins.
Yeah.
For the last vulnerability report we did. So we're whittling down the numbers slowly but surely.
Well, they'll never whittle them down because as they fix others, more pop up. It's a continuous. One of the biggest ones you'll see is the most common is the cross-site scripting error.
Yeah.
You know, and remote code execution, but cross-site scripting is the biggest one. And that's I'm not that great with the code on it, but it's a flaw in the code, in the way the code is written for the plugin. But it's good to keep up to date on it. Pay particular attention to your plugins. One of the best things you can do to protect yourself if you build websites for others is get yourself settled down to a group of plugins that you use all the time that you can depend on, that are done by good developers. And that way you'll know if one of your plugins hits it, you'll know you'll have to deal with it. Don't keep changing plugins every time you build a different website. So,
yeah, that sounds really hard to keep up with them if you do that.
Yeah, well, it was a bad habit I used to have. I kept changing plugins every time I built a different website. I said, oh, this one looks cooler, and I'd use it. So.
Oh, fair enough. All right, well, the next thing we have is Peep. Oh, no, hang on. There we go. The next WordPress vulnerability report is from PatchStack. So these guys always have the latest information on what's going on. The latest one here is from 2 days ago, so not too bad. Seems like things are settling down. There was a huge rash of issues that all kind of cropped up at once, but seems to be tapering off right now.
Yep.
And yeah, like you mentioned before, a lot of cross-script vulnerabilities.
Yeah, a lot of cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. There's just a lot of them, and I read about it once. It's in the code. It's the way the code is written to allow data to be transferred across sites. The cross-site scripting is something I only partly wrap my head around. But anyway, it's something to pay attention to.
Yeah, I'm not fully. Sorry.
Say if you're only managing one website and it's yours, you don't got too much to worry about. Just keep an eye on the plugins you have.
But do check the list to see if any of the plugins you do use is somewhere on that list.
Yeah, or you can get yourself a nice service like, with WP Pro A-Z host, and we use WP Toolkit, and it uses PatchStack to check your plugins regularly, and then sends a notification if it finds one that's errored.
Very useful.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Peep So leaves WordPress plugin repository. So just a heads up, most of the news for WordPress world right now is about this kind of thing going on. It's a lot of drama llama happenings in the WordPress world right now.
Yes, there is.
So this is something that's happening, and it seems to be happening more and more where plugins are leaving the WordPress repository. And when asked why, there's been a few different reasons they've given. One of the most common ones is that they don't feel that they don't feel like they're really happy there. The rules are convoluted. They feel not great being on there. Yeah. They complain about like the moderators as well as the forum rules, and this is something that's been going on for a really long time though. Like it's being brought to everyone's attention now, but I have seen complaints about this for a long time, and you yourself have a huge complaint about it from ages ago.
Over 10 years ago, since I was booted out of the WordPress.org. So
Yeah. And just in the four or five, I think 4 years I've been doing this, I've seen that kind of thing happening a lot where
Yeah.
people will, they're having a really bad time with it. And right now it's really starting to affect people like last straw level now.
yeah, it's hitting last straw level now.
Yeah.
Due to events in the last couple of months where a lot of time people are losing trust in that system. A new system's going to arise to replace it. I know one will. There'll be a group that'll get together and they'll create a repository, but I have some other information on that coming down the pike here in news. So
yeah, so what the reason why Peepso left is because they were actually suspended for issues they'd already fixed. And that was the last job for them. They're like, nope, we're done.
it wasn't. They were also suspended for issues that were caused by a third-party service that wasn't even them.
Very true.
Yeah. So just so there's some clarification there. The issues they fixed, yes, okay, and then it was something that was even beyond their control. So.
Yeah. So we do have a lot of plugins that are starting to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention to your plugins. Make sure that you are aware of where you need to get updates if they no longer do the automatic updates, which I'm pretty sure they will, but some of them may not be able to.
Nope. All the ones that are leaving, which is really nice, they still get the updates. What they're doing is they're figuring out how to include something in there so that it gets an update and the update switches from going to WordPress repository to going to their new service for the update.
Oh, perfect.
Or they're
awesome.
or they're sending out contacts to their users if they can get hold of them to say, hey, you need to update here, and going forward it'll always auto update here. So they have found solutions around it, and there's even more solutions that are being explored. So like I said, a new system's going to arise.
Oh yeah, something will be born out of this, and it'll probably be awesome.
It'll be awesome because the thing is the WordPress is too big to completely fail right now. It's the ecosystem is huge. The problem is how it's being managed right now.
Yeah, well, it's been long enough. It's time for some death and rebirth in order to keep everything fresh and new.
Yeah.
Death and rebirth is a part of the cycle, and it's always kind of exciting when the rebirth starts happening.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next up we have WP Engine updates its original legal complaint against Automatic and Matt
Mullenweg.
Why do I have such a hard time with his last name?
I have no idea.
So WP Engine has revised its original legal complaint against Automatic to include the launch of Matt's site, WP Engine Tracker site, which I don't know if anybody else is. I don't know if anybody else is not aware of the WP Engine tracking site. What he did is he launched a site that tracks how many businesses leave WP Engine, and then puts it up there for the world to see. And we actually don't know if those numbers are at all correct, but that's what they're doing.
There's another interesting article I've got later on that helps clarify that a bit.
Okay, cool. Because I wasn't really able to find much information on it, but there has been so many issues that are being caused by this.
Mm-hmm.
So what WP Engine is saying is this is a case about abuse of power, extortion, and greed. The misconduct at issue is especially troubling because it took place within WordPress open source software community, which was built on promises of freedom to build, run, change, and redistribute without barriers or restrictions. Those promises were betrayed by the wrongful actions of a few defendants to the detriment of the broader community, including WPE. So there's also like some talk about trademark issues. Yeah. It is getting super convoluted.
Oh, it's this legal battle is going to go on for the next couple of years. It's going to be.
Oh yeah.
It's going to, in my opinion, it's going to define the WordPress community for a very long time.
Probably.
Whichever way it rolls, it's going to define it, because it's going to define what all the freedoms really are and aren't. Because a lot of it's just been on promises and goodwill for, 17 years. 18 years. Almost 18. Oh, it's been over 20. WordPress is over 20 years old. It's 20 years. It's been 20 years. It's been on Promises and Goodwill.
Yeah, you figured out the math.
Well, yeah, I know it because WordPress's birthday is the exact same day as your older brother, as your younger brother, your oldest younger brother. So it's kind of interesting that occurred. That WordPress is the same birthday as his.
Yep.
But the thing is, I've only been working with WordPress since the time of my youngest son being born, which is almost 16 years. So.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of math there to do, but not much.
Yeah, well, So you don't need to cover the next news article, the WP Engine Tracker, because that's already been covered.
All right. And the last one I have here is just one of my random ones. Earth bids farewell to its temporary mini moon that is possibly a chunk of our actual moon. So I thought this was really cool. We've had an asteroid tagging along as a mini moon for the past 2 months, and researchers think that they might actually be part of our moon, which is actually kind of cool. Like, how long have we had this thing circling around for? It's just a chunk of our moon. It's like our moon had a child, and it just keeps running away and coming back to visit home. So this is actually pretty cool though, because they were talking about how they're going to be able to really keep an eye on it and see just how far they can track it. They're going to be testing out their ability to track something in basically live time, seeing just how far they can go. The next time that this is going to be back is in 2055.
Cool.
So we'll see how our technology actually does for tracking something, because it's so close right now. We have such a clear reading of it. Watching it as it goes, how long will we be able to track it for? We've done this with our little robo things, but this is going to go a lot further than any of our little robo machines. So it'll be interesting to see how well we can track it, how far we can watch it for.
Yeah, well, it'll be definitely interesting. Space is getting interesting. I'm learning more and more about it these days.
And then we've got some extras here that people can go and check out. Now, on to Rogue's Corner News and Extras.
We got another little chunk for me with some news and other pieces that I find of interest while I'm doing research for other stuff. We talked about all the security flaws in there, and I've got a couple of interesting ones. One, a big flaw in a security plugin that affected 4 million sites. So it's kind of just a hilarious sort of thing, is that a security plugin had a major security flaw. And it's been patched. It was brought to date in an ethical manner. Once they discovered it, they didn't announce it to the public. They put it in front of the plugin developer, who then fixed it, and then they announced it after it was fixed. So
that's good.
It's always nice when those get announced in such a way that the developer has time to fix it before it happens, especially on a major plugin like this. 4 million websites is no small potatoes for a plugin. And it's for a very popular plugin. It was this really simple security plugin. It's a fairly popular security plugin. I've used it in the past. I don't use it now, but it is a good plugin. So I thought that was just an interesting piece of irony, that a security plugin had a major security flaw.
Yeah, sounds about right.
This is where we were talking about how the plugins that are leaving the WordPress repository are having to find new ways for plugins to be updated. This fellow here, Luke Princeton, he wrote a nice article on research he did on how a plugin developer can set their plugin to be updated and not dependent upon the WordPress repository. He went through using things like Freemius, Whooping.io, GitHub, and he wrote a solution. It's all the code for the solution that can be added to your plugin. He wrote it all out, giving people the information they need on how to deal with it and how to get it in there and their callback methods, et cetera, et cetera. So I thought this was a very useful piece to bring forth for any of the developers out there that are listening to the show. And you might be concerned about what's happening with WordPress repository, and you might be concerned that maybe you're going to land on the wrong side of the word towards Matt Mullenweg, who owns WordPress.org. It is a private website. Come to a surprise to most of us in the community who thought it was owned by the WordPress Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, you could be locked out of your plugin, and you won't even be able to access all the clients that you had gained through the WordPress repository. And that's one of the biggest
Which is
problems.
one of the scariest outcomes.
It's one of the scariest outcomes. It's happened to several people, including the AFC plugin, which was taken unethically from WP Engine and overtaken by WordPress.org and changed. And they've even made another change to it that where they've taken the Pro version and now they've inserted the Pro version into the SFC plugin. So people can get the Pro version of Advanced Custom Fields, called Safe Custom Fields now, I think is what WordPress decided to call it. And they can get the Pro version, which isn't cheap, by the way, because I know I pay for it. And you can get that Pro version from them. So WordPress has done what they say is a bad thing to do, and that's null pay premium plugins. So at any rate, this is a really great article on it. Another article I've got here for folks. This is a really great article. Well, I'm surprised there's still good content over at WordPress.org that can be accessed by the public. I've got most of this information elsewhere, but it is how to reset your password in an emergency when you've lost your password, you don't have the correct email. Maybe you've got a client that some developers set up the website. They never gave them an administrative account. They gave them a editor account, and they've taken control of that website from that developer who's given them a grief. This is how I got into this particular part years ago anyway. And they need to get into their website and do some stuff with it, and all they have is FTP access. Well, this article here tells you how you can change the password, the admin password, via multiple methods. To do these methods, you have to have a cPanel or FTP access to the website. You can do it through FTP, CLI, PHPMyAdmin. An emergency script you can upload to the website. I have an emergency script that I wrote years ago where I just take it, FTP it up to the site, hit that script. It inserts a brand new administrator with a password in it. I go and delete that script so it can't be used by a hacker. And then I have instant access to the site. So this is something that is very, very useful to people. I've had to use this several times since I've written that script. I even had to use it on one of my old sites I forgot the administrator account on. Doesn't happen very much to me anymore. But this is a really great article, something you'll want to dig down into, especially if you need it. So grab the article from the show notes and bookmark it somewhere, or copy and paste all the information. And the final item I've got, what's that?
I was going to say, I recommend copy and pasting for everyone, just because if you bookmark it, well, it could change. Just copy and paste, save it somewhere.
Yeah, save it somewhere. Save the content, because the content's good. It's a really thoroughly well-written piece, and it tells you exactly how to deal with it in all the multiple ways. The final little piece I've got for you is an interesting article examining the fallout of how much information WordPress collects on other great stats. Sorry. This is a fellow who took all that data that was dumped out there by Mullenweg when he created the WP Engine Tracker, or the WordPress Engine Tracker. What's funny is he did WordPress Engine Tracker and didn't get WP Engine Tracker. Somebody else went out and bought WP Engine Tracker, and then they put a note up there that says, "Matt, please stop doing this." I just thought that was an amusing thing to do.
Yep.
So anyway, this one here, this guy took all the data, that 800,000 sites, and he analyzed that data, digging down into the data, because you can download the file from WP Engine Tracker. So he downloaded the CSV file and just went nuts. You can tell that geeks sometimes have way too much time on their hands. Or
they just get a bug in their hat and have to go with it.
Well, that's pretty much what it is. It's not always time on my hands. It's like I got a bug up my hat. I get a bug on my hat, and I gotta crush the damn thing. So anyway, he analyzed the stuff, looking at where the links went to, what they were, the top themes that were used, the top plugins that were used. Some really interesting data. This is information data that is being sent and disclosed by your website. This is basically public information. There's lots of people that are saying, "Hey, it's private." No, this is the data that your website lets into the public when it's running. And you can try to shut down most of it, but a lot of it is still out there. He does explain the possibilities of other data that might not have been supposed to be public, but it is. he calls into question some of the practices of WordPress. So it is an interesting article, and it is something that might be worth looking into. So that's pretty much all I've got for it. And with that, let's dive into our plugins. All right, what have I got for you today? Cookies, 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 and more cookies. Yes, everyone loves cookies. What was that?
Yes, love. That's the word.
Oh, the Matrix. You know, the Matrix had a small callback about take a cookie to enter the Matrix and to access the Matrix website.
Yes, I do remember that. You had to take the cookie and eat it.
He had to eat the cookie from when he talked to the lady, whatever she was.
Yeah, he said he didn't want the cookie, and then she said you have to eat the cookie.
Yeah, it's like okay, so some geeks snuck that in there. I didn't even realize that for a long time. Anyway, dealing with cookies. Nowadays, you've got privacy laws spread across the globe about cookies. None of them are the same. None of them are equal. You can do this here. You can do that there. You can't do this here. You can't do that there. Depending on where your website is focused, depends on the laws you really have to pay attention to. But I've been looking at cookie plugins for a while now, trying to find a decent one that presented a decent, appearance to it, checked a lot of the boxes for monitoring and managing cookies and doing everything else. And I finally settled on Cookie Yes, the cookie banner for cookie consent. And it's a really good one. It's got a lot of great settings in it that makes it easy. You can set up settings for GDPU, your local settings. They've even got some settings in there to comply with some foreign countries and even some states. They've got a lot.
Cool.
They've got a lot in this one here. They've got a guide on how to do it, some useful links on cookie law, knowledge base and dealing with it all. On the whole, it was the easiest one to set up and the easiest one that didn't automatically, I tried another one, had an okay banner, but then shortly after I installed it, it's like, hey, you want to get all the really good features? Sign up here and pay us this small fortune. Because they were, in my opinion, overcharging for what they wanted. So that can vary. So anyway, you can go check this one out. It's a really great one. The nice thing is it gives you the ability to design the banner to more match your website. And you get a choice of banners. You can have a banner going all the way across the bottom. You can have the pop-up window like we show here in this little screenshot. You can have it pop up in the center of the screen. So you get 3 options to how to display the banner. And then you can go in and change the colors and everything else. You don't have to pay extra to get all that customization. So, and that's the bonus of it all. On the whole, you're going to have to deal with cookies. You're going to have to eventually have a cookie banner on your, on your website so people can accept the cookies or reject the cookies. If they reject the cookies, they get a shitty use of your website. Because without cookies, the websites don't function. There are certain cookies that must be accepted by WordPress for WordPress just to run correctly. And that's just the way it goes. So if they refuse all cookies, they get an ugly version of your site. All right, so go check it out. Cookie Yes, cookie banner for cookie consent, and I give it a 5 dragon rating. All right.
That sounds like one that I'd like to actually use.
What's that?
I said that actually sounds like a cookie one that I'll actually use. Sounds like it's easy to use.
It's the one that has now gone into, if you use WP Toolkit off of WP Pro A-Z host to set up your WordPress website, this is one of the several plugins that are auto-installed for you. They're not activated, but auto-installed, so that's right there. You don't have to chase it down.
Hamdi wants to know, cookie notice and compliance for GDPR/CCPA is what he uses. Easy enough to set up, but now nags him to go pro. What was the one you were alluding to, John?
Oh, it's called Cookie Yes. Here. Here, we'll make it easy for you. I'll stick it in the chat window for you. Here's the link. Go check it out. That way you don't have to wait for the show notes to get it.
That works. All right, so we've already had the Wii for the WordPress tips. We would love to have some WordPress tips sent in by our listeners out there. What did you figure out by breaking something? Or what did you need to learn in order to help someone who actually broke something themselves? You can send these tidbits into me at amber@wppro.ca. So my tip to everyone this week, is really just to let the circus do its thing. Just sit back and watch.
Pop the
'Cause-
popcorn.
Yeah. Because like I've noticed, I know that Hendian was saying earlier that in the chat there that there's a lot of crazy drama issues that are happening in a lot of online groups. Well, there really is. And the WordPress community is no different. And there's been a lot of divisive attitudes lately. And the only thing I can really think of to suggest to everyone is just don't get into it. This is between Matt and WP Engine. Like this is between them. Don't get yourself involved. You don't need to be involved. You don't need to choose a side, because your choosing a side isn't going to help them. It's also not going to hinder them. Your choosing a side is only going to help or hinder yourself, not them. So sit back, enjoy the circus, and just watch and see where it goes. I completely understand the worries about how this is going to affect you and your business or affect you and your site, what have you. Take the necessary precautions. Like if you are a developer, use that code that that John showed. Go into our show notes, pick up that link, use that code, fix your plugin, make it so that you aren't required to stay on the is it automatic site or WordPress site?
It's the WordPress.org site. It's the WordPress repository is its more common name.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, fix it so you don't have to stay on the WordPress repository if you're worried that you're going to lose access. And if you are, and if you're just worried about how it's going to affect you otherwise, take the steps necessary to protect your data, protect your site, protect everything you can, and then sit back and just watch, because this is going to be going on for a while. I don't think it's going to be ended by 2025. I don't think it's going to be ended by 2026.
It's going to take a year or two at least right now, because the things that they haven't brought into this yet is the thing about trademarks.
Yeah, and that's what they just started bringing in.
Yeah, that's just beginning, the trademark thing. Yeah. So, and that one there, you'll have to do some research on it, because there's a really deep rabbit hole about the trademarks.
Yeah, so don't get yourself involved. Just let it happen in your peripheral, and just live day to day as best you can. Don't let it stress you out, because if you let it stress you out, you're going to be exhausted for no reason. It doesn't help or hinder them. It's only you it's going to affect. So that is my tip for today.
Oh, there's one other tip that I want to announce, is that they're actually going to do 3 releases of WordPress next year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's in the extras in the news, I think.
Oh, okay. So, all right, well, it's time for you to do your plugin.
Just quickly before I start with that, Hendian said, I meant you mentioned another cookie plugin that you didn't like, and was wondering if that was the one I was using.
Oh, I can't remember the name of that one right now, because I yanked it off the site and tossed it. I tend not to toss out the names of them. I can't remember it at the moment.
Only for reviewing them.
Yeah, I'd have to go dig some research to figure out which one it was. But it's the one that comes up when you search for cookies for WordPress in the repository. It's the one that pops at the top. You know, it comes up in the top 4, and that was I'll give that one a try. And it turned out the one I recommend here. You actually got to search for it. It's like, it seems the better plugins, even when you search for them by name, they don't often show up. I swear to God.
Yeah, I found that too.
I swear to God that I've always thought the thing was all the search results were manipulated there.
Well, it's like when you're searching for Color Cue plugin, it's one of my favorite plugins. It shows you like the beta, all the different options for the plugins. You have to go searching hard for that one now. It's buried.
Yeah.
All right, so onto my plugin. I have B7 random number. So I came across this, and what drew me in was the dice. I'm a D&D geek. I can't help it. I see dice, I gotta check something out. And what it is it B7 random number is a free plugin designed to allow you to easily generate numbers directly into your WordPress posts, pages, or widgets. It is completely customizable within the parameters, and you can specify the range, format, and even the type of number, whether they're odd or even, or what you want to display. So the following parameters you have to work with as you can see on the screen, are the min-max, that's between 1 and 100, the count, so how many random numbers you want to generate, the default is 1, the type, so you set the type to generate, whether it's even or odd, comma, so you can control the formatting of the output, set to yes to include commas and large numbers, or no to remove them. Default is yes. Decimals. You can specify the number of decimal points for the generated number. Default is 0. Prefix. You can add a prefix to the generated number, for example, ID dash. And you can add a suffix to generated number, for example, dash XYZ. So it's fairly customizable. The way to use and set these parameters is in shortcodes. You put them directly into your post page or widget. So you can look on here. They have the shortcode. They also have it in the plugin. And I was able to test this plugin, and it was really easy to use. I was able to play around with it, had fun. It works beautifully with Elementor, Classic Editor, and Gutenberg. Plays well with others, doesn't slow anything down, looks fantastic. And I'll be honest, I'm not entirely certain what it would be used for. But
that was my question. What are you going to use it for? It generates and puts numbers on your page.
I'm not sure. But this is a lot of work that went into it.
Yeah.
Therefore, it must be something that is really useful for somebody. And it works really well.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it. I got drawn into it. It's all numbers and fun things. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you have a numerology site.
Maybe.
It's pretty cool. But if there's anyone out there who that you see this, you hear this, you're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been searching for. Please let me know and tell me what it is you use it for. I would love to know. And because it works so well and it's totally free, I rate it at 5 dragons.
Well, I suppose if you combined it with some CSS graphics to create dice, you could suddenly have it creating a D&D dice on your screen.
Hey, there you go.
You know, you got a ton of extra code there, but still, I'm trying to think. Okay, it generates a random number. What's it going to be used for?
I don't know.
According to their picture here, it just prints the numbers on a page. And,
It does.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well.
But you can change the numbers, and it's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, on that happy note, generate some random donations to us.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
Numeric password? Not sure if it could be a numeric password. So there are a lot of ways that you as our producers can utilize us as your tool to help yourself out while at the same time helping us out. You can get a producership credit, do an interview, donate some time to get your name up here, all kinds of things. You can look further into the producership credits options by going to our site and clicking on time, talent, or treasure in our main menu. Loads of options. Scratch our back, we'll scratch yours as best we can. It's a tit for tat kind of deal that we like to offer. We have a couple of miscellaneous announcements. First, if anyone out there has a meetup that they'd like to announce, or they'd like to let the world know that they're going to be up on a WordCamp or stage or something, let us know. We'll announce it here for you. In the meantime, the next 5 WordCamps that are coming up are WordCamp Sofia in Bulgaria on November 24th, WordCamp Netherlands on November 29th to 30th, WordCamp Delhi, November 30th to December 1st, and WordPress Day for Developers in Lisboa on November 30th, and WordCamp Ahmedabad on January 3rd to 4th of 2025. If you want to see the entire list, you can follow the link here. We also have a link to Meetup. We don't have a Meetup here on the island anymore, but there is one in Vancouver and a bunch in Washington State. So you can always go to the meetup.com, check out the WordPress options. And if you feel like reaching out to us, there are a couple ways to do it. You can reach out to our brick and mortar address, or, if you feel like sending in a picture or something, handwritten note, that'd be lovely. We'd love to hear from someone out there. You can send it to our brick and mortar address, or you can reach out to us through email. And today's plugins we covered were
I covered up the Cookie Yes plugin, Cookie Banner for cookie consent, easy to set up, GDPR, CCPA, compliant cookie notice by Cookie Yes. The nice cookie consent banner, automatic scanning, preference setter, and so much more. So go check it out. I gave it a 5 dragon rating. That was a long title.
I think we have to see if we can find the super long titles again, because
Yeah.
about once a year we do that, and it's about this time of year too. So we should do that for our next show.
Yeah, well, we'll hunt down really long titled ones just because. Either that or see if we can find the shortest title again.
That could happen.
Yeah.
So actually, Hemdian said random numbers. There are some sites that generate random words in RPG languages based on syllable probabilities and random numbers. So this could be used for that.
It could be used for that, yes. Okay.
So today I covered B7 random number. Allows random numbers to be generated directly into WordPress posts, pages, or widgets. Has customizable parameters, and it is versatile. I rate it at 5 dragons.
Alrighty then. It is the fun time.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
All right. So if anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca. We may actually manage to stump my dad one more time, at least before the end of the world. Possibly. It's possible. It could happen. So first question for you today. Winter storms are upon us. So how does one go about selecting the best UPS? That would be the uninterrupted power system, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the battery backup for your computer.
Yeah.
Figure out how long you want to keep your computer running after the power fails. And then you go and figure out how much money you can spend to buy the best one you can afford. There's only a couple of good companies left that make them. I don't have any here where I'm at, but at the Oasis, there's a couple. I bought a couple there in previous years. They're probably due for replacement because they only last for a few years. Like any battery. Eventually, if you got to replace the batteries in them. Some of them, you can buy the more expensive ones where you can actually replace the battery component in them when the battery component goes bad. So you want to think about those. But the biggest thing is when you've got your computer plugged into the UPS, you need to have your computer plugged in. You need to have your primary monitor plugged in. If you're working with multiple monitors, let the other 3, 4, however many monitors you have go dark with the power go out, but everything focus onto your primary monitor. So you need that so you can get in there and shut everything down properly so that you don't lose it. Your minimum time frame should be 15 minutes. If you get a really good battery backup, you could keep your computer up for a couple hours. And then if it's a battery backup that strong, you can plug in your modem to it, and who knows, your cable connections, if you're using cable, may stay up when the power goes down because they don't always fail at the same time in a power outage. Sometimes the cable company's still running while the power is out. I had that happen one year at the Oasis. It was kind of interesting. I just plugged the modem into the battery backup and continued working on the laptop through the internet. Or if you have Starlink, you can then plug your Starlink system into a generator and have your computer on the battery backup. But anyway, finding the best one is figuring out how much time you want to keep it online and how much money you can afford to spend on the battery backup, and then go check which ones are available. That's really all you got to do.
Hemdian wanted to also ask how many devices need to be powered and how much for each?
That depends. In my particular computer, say my computer I'm sitting at right now, it has a 1,000-watt power supply. That's a lot of power being sucked down.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out, you have to look at the total wattage of your monitor and your computer being pulled, and then look at how long that battery backup can sustain that wattage. It's sitting down and doing some math is basically what it boils down to. Understanding what the wattage is on your computer power supply. The computer at the Oasis has a 1,000-watt power supply too. And like the battery backup there, it's old enough now where it lasts like 10 minutes. But hopefully that's long enough for you to get in there and shut it down. The other thing you can do is you can get a battery backup that plugs into a USB port on your computer, and the moment it senses the failure, it actually goes into shutdown mode and starts shutting down all your open windows for you. You know, there's programs to do that sort of thing. I don't trust automation like that because it works the first time and then it never works again. So.
What about what he says here, where some connect a PC via USB and can trigger a controlled shutdown?
That's what I just talked about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's what you're talking about, where it works like the first time and doesn't work again.
Yeah, I don't know if it does like that, but I don't trust automation like that because I've trusted it in the past and it worked until something critical was needed and it didn't work. It's like I have no faith in automation because that's how it's always gone with me. It's like it'll work and it'll work fine, but if it's something I need critical, that's the moment it chooses to fail. It's like, so I give up trusting that stuff.
So really, during winter storms, every time you leave your house, whether or not you have a UPS, just shut down everything.
You shut
Make
down.
it so if your computer shuts down. From a.
Yeah, well, make it so you're, you can have it so you shut down all your windows you had open, all the work you were doing. You can leave the computer on, but and that way, if it fails, the power of your computer would just shut down.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning.
Yeah. So yeah, they're really great and useful, and I like them. And the biggest thing is, well, we'll let you ask your next question because it rolls right into what I was going to continue with.
Yep. So, any idea how many brownouts and or power failures it takes to kill one of these bad boys? And is there any way to tell this information before buying it?
Well, the brownouts don't kill it. What kills it?
What do brownouts do?
Well, they'll cause it to flip to using the backup power supply. Okay, but that doesn't kill the power supply, the backup battery, because you're looking at it's got batteries in that box, and what happens is, sorry, when power is applied to the box, the power from your wall is routed through to what you're plugged in. But when the power from the wall shuts off, a switch inside the box switches it so that it automatically moves to the battery backup. And it does it such an instantaneously fast that it doesn't impact your computer. Actually, it's always there. The battery's always there, so it just takes over. So that doesn't kill it. What kills the battery is if you have lots of brownouts, your battery discharge and recharge rate. It's like having your cell phone battery. You only get so many discharges and recharges before the battery fails. And that's the same thing with those. The other thing is, though, is that because they're constantly being charged, that also impacts their lifespan. That's why they have like a 3 to 5 year lifespan, is because if you don't have many outages in that time frame, the batteries are always constantly charged to their maximum. And so they never have an opportunity to discharge.
Yeah, so we have a lot of brownouts during the winter here.
Yeah, and I know, and it's always kept the computer alive and done well with it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, is if you might be in an area where your power might not go out, but those brownouts are more damaging to your computer than a power outage. Because those brownouts are a low voltage and then they're a spike in voltage back. They're like dim down, spike, dim down, spike. Those are more damaging to electronics than anything. That's why we have battery backups, why we have the what the hell are those damn connectors called, where you plug all your stuff into spikes.
Protectors?
Yeah, surge protectors. Why we have the surge protectors for things like that. So, all right.
Henry said something kind of interesting. I had a UPS that would also log voltage irregularities. It was interesting to see how dirty my supply was.
Oh God,
That is kind of interesting.
Our supply lines are they're clean. They're amongst the cleanest in the world, but they are pretty dirty. And that is the other thing. Is the other good reason to have a battery backup like that is it will give you clean sine wave power, and it regulates out the spikes in power that are constantly in your system. It's like you'll see them from time to time if your eyes are looking the wrong way, and you'll see a light bulb flicker for no apparent reason. That was a surge just went through your power line.
So, another question. Your other half wants to know, Your alter ego wants to know, so if you don't have many outages, will it help to unplug the UPS from the wall once in a while?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt. Let
Does
it.
it help?
I really don't know. I can't remember what type of batteries are in there, whether they're lithium batteries or what. They're probably lithium now, which most batteries are lithium now. It depends on the type of battery, as to what it is. And I don't recall what's in there. It's been a while since I bought one and researched them. It's been about two years or so since I bought and researched a battery backup. I may consider one here because I used to have dependable power here where I am in the city, but the last year we've had two outages, which is highly unusual to have. So I'm no longer confident in the power supply in this section of town.
Mm.
So I may end up buying one for my system.
All right. I think that is all the questions for the first part. Now we have a second part after the closing credits.
All right. We'll take it all. For those of you listening in the downloads, well, you're going to have to come back to the YouTubes to catch the really fun stuff. And thanks, everyone, for listening to the show. And we greatly appreciate the increase in audience that has been happening over the last several months. So thank you, everyone. Little girl, take us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsaz.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsaz.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA-Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today. Alrighty then, it is time to wander into all the other stuff we got. What else we got here?
Oh, it's still along the same topic, but it's more questions.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to bore you, but it seems to be a good topic.
Yeah, it is a good topic.
So if you turn off your computer, or if you turn your computer off for the flickering and power outages, should you be unplugging it as well? Like unplug the power supply, unplug the computer. Should you be unplugging it, or just leave it plugged in since it's not actually drawing any energy actively?
Oh, it is actively drawing energy. Unless you turn the power supply off on your computer, it's still drawing a trickle.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if you're turning everything off because you're like, okay, if power's flickering, I'm not going to get any work done tonight. Turn it all off. Should you still unplug it? Oh yeah, I do. Whenever, like when I had the power outage here a few weeks ago, I went around and unplugged the surge protectors, because the surge protectors, I unplug everything where my computers are plugged in. I unplug it and leave it unplugged until the power comes on and stabilizes, because when the power comes back on, probably it comes on hard. It slams in. Yeah. For one, but the other time, sometimes it'll slam in and sometimes it'll go off right immediately again. That's a major spike. You haven't seen that happen? It comes in, everything lights up, and like 2 seconds later, boom, it's all dead again. Yeah, I probably have, but it's one of those things, like, it's just part of life with electricity, so it's nothing special in my brain. Yeah. Well, so I don't remember any particular instances. Yeah, well, I've seen it enough times I've never had a computer damaged by it, but I've known people that have had computers damaged by it. Yeah, well, yeah, because I always unplug everything, but it's like, I never really thought to ask if you really need to. I
Yeah.
just did it.
Yeah, you don't always 100% need to, but you should absolutely do it just to protect it. Because, as I said, computers are susceptible to power surges. Even that trickle bit of power that can come in, and that slam on power could possibly get past the surge protector.
Now
So-
that's something I hadn't thought about, getting past the surge protector. Because my next question is like, what if you have like a specialty surge protection battery thing for your computer that your computer's plugged into, like a whole bunch, like a couple layers of protection there? Should you still be unplugging it just to
No.
keep that safe?
Well, at that point, they're not necessary, really.
Okay.
Because the battery is not going to be slammed by it. It's your computer, and if they've got their protections in place, or even say you've got a wall with a surge protector plugged into the battery backup plugged into, now you got a surge protector and another surge protector in front of it. So
Yeah, well, that's what I was wondering. Like, if you have that couple layers of protection, should you still be unplugging it from the wall? Because I mean, I could see how it could maybe wreck the first surge protector.
I would still unplug it from the wall myself.
Okay.
Because it's just, to me, it's like, it's easier. It's like, in reality, your modern appliances, like your refrigerator and washer and dryer, should be unplugged, but from the wall too. Because the modern appliances are dependent upon their circuit boards to run properly.
Wow, that never even occurred to me.
Think about everything that runs with a computer in it now. All modern appliances made in the last 10 years, especially if you've got any appliances in the last 5 years. They totally have a circuit board in them. So you've got those problems in it. You've got modern appliances, your light bulbs, who cares about an LED bulb? But, it's like the surges can cause problems more so than anything else. And that's what
your alter ego said, we had issues when the UPS was plugged into a surge protector. I wonder what kind of issues that could cause. Do you know?
What's that?
Do you know what kind of issues could be caused by having your battery power, your battery thing plugged into a surge protector?
Oh, well, the surge protector itself could be bad.
Okay.
You could be dealing with a surge protector that's not working very well. It's like, I wouldn't plug a battery backup into a surge protector. There's no point.
Oh, random shutdown type of thing, apparently.
Yeah, it sounds like the surge protector was having problems. Or the surge protector might have even been overloading from the battery backup system and causing it to switch off.
Oh, that could be that's kind of interesting.
Because surge protectors have a circuit breaker in them. If you overload the surge protector, it's supposed to kill the power to the surge protector. Even though I have had surge protectors melt.
Oh my.
So
really?
Yeah. I've had some interesting things happen in my many years with electronics. So
Hemdian said, so you want a surge protector or UPS for your whole house? That would be kind of cool.
If you could get one, yeah, that'd be good. I think that's what a Tesla battery is.
Tesla battery is a surge protector?
A Tesla battery? Yeah, it's a surge protector and a battery backup for your whole house. Universal power supply. Tesla makes a battery, a big giant wall battery that you can put up against your house in between the connection to your house and the power coming in from the streets. Or you could set it up as an alternate. Maybe that's your backup generator, is a Tesla battery, and then you can have it wired to solar panels to keep it charged. There's many things you can do nowadays. About 9-10 months ago, I started digging into the research of solar power to power a house, the batteries you need, the connections you need, how many amp hours you need, how many kilowatt hours you use. You look at the kilowatt hour usage on your house to figure out how many batteries you need to supply the energy you need for the different things you run in your house. There's a lot of math that goes into figuring out what you're going to do. a ton of math
Yep.
that goes into it, and then figuring, and then going website after website and company after company, figuring out what they charge for batteries to provide you with the kilowatt hours necessary. It's a real interesting rabbit hole to go down. I went down it about 9 or 10 months ago when I thought I might do something about it, and then life changed and I didn't do anything about it.
But you have the knowledge now.
That was interesting. How was that? There we go. Yeah, well, I have the basic knowledge. When I finally do it, I have to go down and get the rest of the knowledge. But you got to start somewhere. So.
Hamdian said, meanwhile, minor annoyance, when I have an outage, when power comes back, all smart bulbs come on. A pain if it's the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep. Smart bulb? Like they're not attached to the switch?
Yeah, it's like, well, you'd have to have the switch turned on for them to work, because they won't work unless the switch is turned on.
Is there no switch for a smart bulb, though? You just, screw it in and,
I don't know.
the time of day?
I don't know. I've never used smart bulbs. I don't want anything else tied to my bloody system.
No. I like having off and on switches. They make me happy.
Yeah. I want to turn it off on my time, not theirs.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think that is it.
All right. Well, let's look at some music. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. We greatly appreciate. Let's try that
One
again.
more time. Come on, you can do it.
Appreciate it. We really do appreciate everyone showing up here. And thanks, Hamdian. Always love your input. Little music. Carry us on out of here.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope a tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously, we just lost the satellite feed. That's